Hello and welcome to the Losing Our Minds podcast, episode 5. What are we going to title this?
I don't know. Something about bad advice.
Oh, okay.
That we think is good advice.
Yeah, that's our whole life, right?
Yeah.
We just
advice
think
we
that
think
we
is
give-
good, but
yeah.
we're not positive.
Exactly.
That's maybe what we'll call it. Advice we think is good, but we're not positive.
I like it. Well, if you are new around here and haven't subscribed, please do so because it supports our channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, or follow us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this podcast.
I've heard that reviews are good too. So if you're like
Yeah.
on Apple Podcasts where you can review, if you could, leave us a 5-star raving review, because we know you just love this podcast. And how could you leave anything but a 5-star?
They're going to go leave it like a 2-star now because you said that.
That'd be-
Don't do that. We have a
We're going to
5-star
have a
rating right now.
troll go leave us a low review. That would actually make me sad.
Yeah, that would suck.
So last time we talked about our dating story and the way the first time you saw me wanted to marry me immediately.
Yeah, it was so quick.
You begged for a ring.
I know. It was nuts. Can you believe it?
Right. And so we talked this week about, okay, well, what's episode 5 going to be about?
Yep.
And I think you had a pretty good idea to talk about, as people who successfully made it through the dating phase of life,
Yep.
to give kind of our...
That sounds so weird. We successfully made it through. Congratulations.
Well,
it's like a video game.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You were on to the next level.
I mean, it sort of isn't
Marriage.
life sort of a video game.
That's so true. Yeah.
Yeah, so we successfully passed that level.
Wow.
And what a weird phase of life to be dating.
Dating is weird.
Dating is weird and difficult, and it's sort of like how because you're interacting with all these people wondering, does this person want to essentially spend their life with me, right?
Right.
And you possibly end up dealing with rejection and
Yep.
dealing with
Heartbreak.
unrequited love.
Feeling unworthy.
Yeah. Or just feeling like, I think one of the big things that's hard, and one of the reasons when people know they need to break up with someone but they don't want to, one of the reasons I think they don't is obviously hurt feelings, but big part of it is feeling like you've wasted time. And I think that's a big thing with dating. Is like,
Totally.
I've wasted all this time on this person. And,
Yep.
and so dating is weird and hard. So we thought, because we successfully made it through, we're not experts.
We are not experts.
We're really not even that educated, let's be honest. But we thought we'd give our input into how to date with as little pain as possible, or how to successfully date. Again, this is advice we're not sure is correct, but we think might be.
But I mean, we dated other people too before,
Sure.
and clearly that wasn't successful. So we've gone through the phases of life,
The ups
right?
and downs.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so I what we did is we each got our 2 tips, right?
Our 2 tips, yep, from our dating life.
Right. We looked back and said, what are the 2 things that either helped us the most? Because some of them, one of mine especially, is advice that I got before you and I met.
Right.
And then, so it's stuff that we look back and said, this helped us, or stuff that we wish we had heard, right?
Totally, yeah. Or stuff we did hear but didn't listen to.
That too, yeah.
I feel like it's a lot of that too.
Yeah. So we've each got 2 tips
All right.
for dating. So this is for those of you that are dating. And if you're not dating, if you're already married, obviously you could just skip this episode, or I'm probably going to make fun of Ariel a couple of times, so you can stick around just for that entertainment value. Or maybe something we say will provide you wisdom to express to somebody else. And so I want to say up front, you're welcome. If we happen to, by some odd chance, say something that might be valuable to someone in your life, you have our full permission to steal what we said and take it as your own advice for somebody.
100%. My little brother listens to this just to hear you rag on me. Just back to what you were saying. I mean, he should really listen to this podcast and take it in, but I think we all know why he truly listens.
But he really listens to hear me just rag on you. Yeah. Yeah. Which, I mean, let's be honest, I try not to do that much because I don't want it to seem like that's our relationship, like me just giving you a hard time.
No, we have a good time.
Yeah, but there's just something about getting in front of a camera that makes you want to give the other person a hard time,
All right, let's go.
Okay. So I guess I'll go first. Then you.
Oh my gosh, I just burped. Did you hear it?
I don't know.
Okay, I think we're good.
I don't think it would have, because I was talking as you burped, so I don't think anyone would have heard. But now they know you just
It was like
burped.
an internal burp, though.
If you're watching on
didn't
audio,
open
she
my
blew
mouth.
it into my face. No. Or if you're watching on audio. If you're listening just on audio. If you're on YouTube, you know what really happened. But on audio, I just want everyone to know she blew that burp right into my
whatever.
face.
It smelled good, though, huh? Because I just took a peppermint drop in my mouth.
Didn't smell good.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that's a
Hey,
lie.
should we tell everybody the secret about you?
No!
Okay. I think we should.
No! No. My face is... I'm smiling, but on the inside, I'm like...
Okay. Maybe a later episode that'll be revealed.
Maybe so.
Okay.
And if it does, I'm going to reveal something about you.
Okay, that's fine. That's fair. So I'll give my first tip, and then you'll do, and then you, and then me, and then you'll close us out with yours.
Okay.
So my first one is the one I said I received before I met you. Mm-hmm. So it was something that I feel like impacted me pre-dating you, that helped our relationship and hopefully helped my role in our relationship and things. And it's from a book by a guy named Andy Stanley. The book's called The New Rules for Love, Sex, and Dating. And it's a really good book if you're single and dating. You should check it out. But he talks about this concept of, and if you've been around me very long, or if you heard me communicate back at Life Church, you may have heard me, quote this before, or maybe even heard my dad quote it. But the concept is to become the kind of person that the person you're looking for is looking for.
I love that one.
Yeah, it sounds kind of complicated, but
It does. But when it clicks,
right,
it
but when it clicks, it clicks. Become the person you're looking for is looking for. The idea being that, especially nowadays with things like Instagram and TikTok and everything, we've got the ideal person we imagine ourselves with. Guys and girls, each you picture yourself with your ideal person. The problem is, really imagine right now, if your ideal person, okay, let's talk to you guys. If you're just like obsessed, who's like a star right now on this, like
a famous
star?
star?
Like a star on like Instagram or TikTok, or like if you met Addison Rae tomorrow, some of you guys, or
Okay.
there's guys out there that can be like, no, that's not who it would be, but whoever it is.
Okay.
Let's say you walk into a room and suddenly that person is there.
Okay.
Would they at all? You don't need to imagine it. I'm your ideal person. You already found that this isn't.
I was imagining it in a place of a guy. Like, I was seriously thinking of.
Okay. Who were you thinking of?
Who was I don't know why. I think it's because I just saw her picture. I was thinking of Megan Fox, but I think it's because I just saw her picture on Instagram. That's why.
Are you of the camp like I am that? And listen, I don't want to just rag on famous people because everybody. But like, did Megan Fox kind of go downhill a little bit?
How so?
I don't know. She looks weird nowadays.
No, I don't think so.
She looks too fake. Like
no, I don't think so.
Yeah, I think so.
She's been off the grid for a little while, and now she just like popped back up because she's dating someone famous.
Is she still doing the like ultra makeup, like way, like just like the massive perfect eyebrows, like?
She is just perfect. Even back on Transformers with Shia LaBeouf, she was perfect.
I think she had a lot of plastic surgery.
Okay, but you don't know.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
And
this is getting.
And she can do what she wants.
She can do whatever she wants.
She can do whatever she wants.
I'm just
Okay, well, that was the person I thought of.
Okay, I apologize for insulting the person, your ideal person.
No.
If you were a guy.
No.
So you walk into the room. There's Megan Fox. There's whomever.
Okay.
Would they even be interested in you? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, if your ideal person walked into your life, do you have the things in your life to offer that ideal person, your dream like partner in life? Mm-hmm. Are you at a place in life to be able to provide them anything? Let me give you an example. There's somebody in my my Twitch community. Okay, I'm going to leave him unnamed, but he knows who he is.
He's going to listen to this?
And I'm going to tell him.
Okay.
And he is obsessed with Pokimane.
Okay.
Pokimane is a female streamer.
Okay.
And I don't really know much about her. But I just know that he is in love with her.
I thought that you meant Pokemon and you just said it wrong.
No. Pokimane. Her name's Pokimane.
Okay.
She goes by Pokimane.
Okay.
Which feels like it would be a copyright issue, but apparently it's not.
No. She's
So
clever.
this unnamed person,
Okay.
my advice to them would be to ask, if you walked into a room and Pokimane was there, do you have the stuff happening in your life to offer to Pokimane that would make her fall in love with you? Do you know what I mean?
Right, yeah,
and
no,
I think
totally.
everybody should ask themselves that, because
Yeah.
everybody gets so focused on finding the one,
Right.
that they sort of forget that they actually have to be able to offer something to that other person for them to want to date them.
Which is, the one is such a, I was about to say hoorah term, but what does hoorah even mean? That's just what popped into my head. But the one is such a funny term, because I think as you get older and older, you realize there is no one. I don't think that there is a one. Do you?
No, yeah, I definitely don't subscribe to the idea that there's only one person.
There are
for
options, and you get to pick.
You get to pick, and then you
Right.
have made a choice that you're
Right.
then committed to, and all those things.
And that
Sure.
person becomes your one because you've made the choice.
Right, like at this point, you are my one, because
Correct.
I chose you, you chose me.
Correct. Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That has always been such a funny term, because it's just the one that gets slammed down your throat all the time by Hollywood or movies or whatever. And so, or like even the follow your heart or stuff like that. I'm like,
Yeah, but finding the one
It's
almost
just-
becomes this pitfall, because then people think they have found the one. And when
Right.
that relationship ends, that's why they're so devastated, because they thought they
Right.
were the only one for them. And
Right.
that's just not true. There's going to be other great people in your life. In fact, you may find someone better.
right.
But yeah, so that's my first tip, is begin doing some self-assessment of like, are you a well-rounded person that has things to offer a relationship? Mm-hmm. And that's not just you need a great job and a lot of money. That's like, are you interesting? Are you do you have things that motivate you in life, that you're passionate about? Are you growing into a better person? Are you better today than you were yesterday, right? Comparing yourself to yourself, not comparing yourself to other people. Are you growing and becoming better?
Yeah.
It becomes this, instead of going on the hunt for I understand there reaches the season of life for a lot of people where you want to be in that relationship and you want to be with somebody. But in the interim, while you are alone, while you are, so that's kind of sad, Sunny, but while you are single, are you becoming a better person?
Mm-hmm.
Are you becoming an interesting person? Are you becoming a well-rounded person?
Yeah, totally.
So that once you do end up finding someone that seems to be worth being in a relationship with, you can actually provide them something that will make them want to be in a relationship with you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. I love that one. That's always been one of my favorite dating advice. That's been the ultimate dating advice, I think, for me. I remember hearing that 6 years ago from your dad at church, one of the series he was doing. And that one, once it clicked, like I said earlier. And that one always resonated with me, because I felt like when I had first moved to Texas, I didn't think I was that person just yet, but I do believe that I grew into that person, and that's definitely, I think, a different story for sure. But I loved that so much. That was so good. And that's one I tell people all the time. Anybody who ever comes to me, any girl who ever comes to me and wants to talk about, their dating relationships or anything that they're going through, that's always one of the number one things I say.
Yeah. And you're never bored, because there's always more to do more to work on yourself. So you're never just sitting around waiting for somebody.
Right.
Because you always have something to work on yourself.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
Cool. Well, let's move on to your first one that you're going to share.
Okay, I feel like mine are kind of simple compared to your nice complex.
Yeah, but again, like that one isn't my statement. That's just,
Right,
that's me
that's
stealing
true.
someone else's.
That's true. Okay, so mine is pretty simple, but yet can be difficult sometimes, and it's don't allow yourself to be mistreated. I think that can go vice versa. I definitely have seen relationships where the girl's mistreated. I feel like that is one that I've seen a lot more, just because I think I am a female, and so I resonate in that area a little bit more, but I also have seen too where guys can be mistreated as well. But
they start simping. They start simping for these girls, and these girls just string them along.
What does that mean?
If you're a simp?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I don't know like what the technical term would be, but it'd be like I'm so obsessed with, my definition would be like, I'm so obsessed with this girl, I'll do like anything for her, and I'll let her like mistreat me and booty call me and ring me up when she's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I have definitely seen it on both ends.
Yeah,
seen it more on the female end for sure.
Because all your friends are girls.
Right, exactly. So I just think that one is so simple yet very important. Just don't allow yourself to be mistreated. I saw a meme recently that I thought was so funny, and I wish I could remember it word for word, but it basically was like, ladies, we are not cockroaches. You do not just come out at night. I'm like, yes. I'm like, yes, that's so true. You are not a cockroach. You do not come out just at night. And so I just think that whenever you really get that into your head, I'm not going to allow someone to mistreat me, then that just starts changing and molding your relationships. So like, yes, the person you are interested in will take you out on a date because that is what you expect and that is what you demand and that's what you want for yourself and for your relationships. Like your person will woo you. You know what I mean? It'll be this mutual thing that comes together because you are not going to allow yourself to be disrespected. And whenever you get to that place of not allowing yourself to be disrespected or be mistreated, you start to gain true power. And I think that it goes back to even your original one. Your first point is you become that person, the person you're looking for is looking for. Does that make sense? Like you now have the self-respect, you now have the confidence, you now, you know what you deserve and you have the power. So you're going to look for those things in your partner as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I get like that can be hard too. Don't allow yourself to be mistreated, totally depending on how you were raised. Like some people don't, I know I've had examples in my past where somebody in a relationship allows themselves to be treated the way they were treated because a parent treated them like that or something. Do you know what I mean? So I think it's so important to, I guess what I'm trying to say is how would you, like for you, I'm asking you a question. How would you, if somebody was raised kind of in a negative household and they don't really know how to be treated properly, how would you what would you tell them? Do you know what I mean?
Right, because we all come from a certain background. And
all of us, right.
We measure other people's behavior as good or bad based on
that
our
and
own
how
upbringing.
Exactly. So what would you tell them? Because sometimes people don't, like, they can't process things. You know, it's like, well, this is how I was raised, or, you know, my parent always said this to me, so now my partner's saying the same thing, and now they have a friend on the outside looking in like, hey, like, you're not supposed to be treated that way. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that's disrespectful. No.
Yeah.
So, and then that person can't even quite process it because that's all they've known.
Yeah.
So I guess I'm asking you, because now that I'm talking through, it's so easy to say don't allow yourself to be mistreated.
But your gauge of what mistreatment
exactly,
is could be off.
I think everybody's gauge is different based on how they were raised.
And because you're so close to the situation, it can be sort of hard to see the reality of what's happening. Because you're in the relationship with that other person, you see their good side. I mean, we see this happen all the time in relationships, is because you're with somebody all the time, they may do things that really are just pretty awful and treat you in ways that are just inappropriate, but you also see them be sweet to you in other moments, and so you try to justify the bad behavior.
Right.
And so it's why we all need really good friends around us. We need people who are going to be honest with us, who are going to look at a situation and say, yeah, that's just not right. Because they're not biased. They're not in love with this person. They're not falling for this person. They're not in the relationship.
So true.
So it's,
and you need
the
to
need
listen to those people.
And you need to be willing to listen to those people. And you probably need a couple of people's input.
Yeah, 100%. You know what I do tell people though, and I've even thought this for myself too, is if you're in a relationship, ask yourself, would you want your partner to treat your child this way? So let's say you had a baby with this person. And okay, so I'm going to use it from a girl's example. Let's say I was in a relationship with a man who didn't treat me very well, and I had a child with that person. My question is, before you get to the child part, my question is, would you want that person treating your child that way? And if the answer is no, well, then you should probably do some reflecting on that relationship.
Yeah. Well, and I think that that's totally true.
Because then they are able to take themselves out of it. Like, it's not directed at them now, it's directed at their child.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And I think that that's great. I think that can also be a little bit heady, because it's like, maybe it's hard for a 16, 17, 18-year-old to imagine having a child. So I would almost take one step away from that.
But this is college age too. I mean,
I'm saying there's a lot of people that would really work for.
Right.
But if you're listening and you can't, it's hard for you you don't even know if you want a kid or whatever.
Right. Yeah,
then
that's true.
you flip that to, and it really comes to my second tip.
Okay. So the third tip. It's the third tip.
It's the third total,
okay.
My second.
Okay.
So this idea of viewing yourself as someone you care deeply for. Mm-hmm. And so that's really what you're describing. Would you be okay if your child was treated that way by this person? Or if you can't imagine having a child, or it's hard, that's a little extreme, that feels so far off, flip it to just someone that you care deeply for in your life. Mm-hmm. That could be a parent. For most people, it's really easy to just imagine a really close friend, right? So if your friend sat you down, a friend you care deeply for, sat you down and said, hey, the person I'm in a relationship with said this to me, or keep saying this to me, or does this to me, or whatever it is. If your friend told you that, would you tell your friend you need out of that relationship? Or would you feel like you need to stand up for yourself? That's unhealthy.
Right.
That's essentially what you're describing.
Right, and that's a perfect tie-in with what my first point was. It perfectly ties in. Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
Totally. Yeah, it's taking a step back, because again, you can't see the forest for the trees. You're in the middle of it. It's hard to see what's really happening. And so begin to, and this actually comes from one of the rules in Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life. I can't remember how he words it. You should read that book. That should be required reading for everybody in life. There's a couple of books that everybody should read. Like, everybody should read the Bible. Everybody should read Jordan Peterson's 12 Rules for Life. I'm giving divine status to Jordan Peterson's book. But there are just some books that are just universally helpful, and that's one of them. But it's this idea of removing yourself one layer so that you're able to, as unbiasedly as possible, assess how you're being treated and what's happening, so that you're able to recognize, do I need to just put up some boundaries and guardrails and say, hey, this is a boundary for me, I'm not going to be treated this way? Or oftentimes, especially when you're in a dating relationship, it probably just means it might mean that you need to get out. And again, by viewing yourself, not as yourself, but as someone you care deeply for, someone you're responsible for helping, I think is the way Jordan Peterson talks about it. You begin to allow yourself to recognize behaviors that are unhealthy or negative or bad that otherwise you wouldn't, because you're just too close to it.
Right.
So I now that we're married, I can look at other relationships that I have in life and say, would I can almost apply that the other way, right, to our marriage, because it's hard when you're in a marriage to know, like, okay, what are the right boundaries? What's good? What's bad?
Right.
And you're able to then, again, treat yourself as, if my friend came to me and said, my spouse is this or that, how would I feel about that? And then I can move that over to our marriage, right? And that's not an end-all, be-all. That's not going to solve all problems, but it's going to help you to look at what you're experiencing more in a more healthy, unbiased way.
Right. It's like being able to look at something as a third party. Yeah. You know what I mean? Even though you're the one in it, it's taking yourself out of the equation and looking down upon what's really happening.
Right. Would you want your dad to treat your mom that way, or your mom to treat your dad that way? Would you want your friend's girlfriend or boyfriend to treat them that way? It's a great question to ask when you're maybe a little too close, a little too emotional about it all. So first rule was become the kind of person the person you're looking for is looking for. Second rule was don't allow yourself to be mistreated. Third rule, or a tip, I guess, advice was...
Yeah, we should probably call them tips.
Yeah, tips, not
Definitely
rules.
Not rules.
Definitely not rules.
We don't make the rules.
We don't make the rules. So, and nobody gave us the authority to anyways.
No.
And we don't have the
And
real
people-
experience or anything to give rules.
People do whatever they
You
want.
guys are going to do whatever you want. This is advice from unprofessionals.
We
are
have
unprofessionals.
definitely gone through the motions of getting this advice and not always listening to it, right?
Yeah, I listen to a lot of it.
Okay.
Just kidding.
That's baloney. Okay, so the third
And
tip.
the third one was view yourself as someone you care deeply for. I forgot my own tip.
And then the fourth and final.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, again, so simple. And I really hope if you're in a dating relationship that this is taking place, but have fun. I just think that's so important. It's so simple, but if even like this crosses over into marriage too, but have fun. And you know what's so funny is I remember this advice actually came from your mom. She told me this when we were dating.
Your mom.
Your mom.
Your mom.
Okay. Your mom. She told me, I don't know what the conversation was, but she had just said something along the lines of, if you were not having fun while you were dating, you were doing it wrong. And that hit me like a ton of bricks because everybody's so quick to, don't do this, don't do this. When you're dating, you can't do this, you can't do this. You know what I mean? So it's like, no, we can also focus on the things you can do. Go on adventures, go hiking, go shopping, go do things, go picnics, like go to the movies, like have fun. You know what I mean? Have fun, create memories. I just think that's so important for couples who are dating, that they're having fun, because those are the things that go over into your marriage too. I feel like you and I had a lot of fun when we were dating. Do you feel that way?
Yeah.
I'm like, do you feel that way?
Hand on my throat.
Hand on your
Answer
throat.
this question correctly.
Yeah, no,
of course
we
we
had
did.
so much fun, and then that just links over into our marriage too, and I feel like we're still having so much fun, we are almost 5 years in. So I just think that that's really important, that you create healthy memories, you have healthy fun.
Yeah. And you know what
And-
that does also is it lets you see that person you're in a relationship with in different environments.
100%.
Because if the only time you see that person is to, watch Netflix and you're just hanging out at home and like, that's the only light with which you're seeing that person. Whereas when you go begin doing things in life, you see how they interact with your friends, with their friends. You see how they interact with all kinds of different people, and you begin to see the whole picture of who that person is, not just who they are in the moment where you're watching Netflix shows, right?
Right.
And if your relationship is just pure drama, one, it's not fun, but two, your marriage is going to be pure drama. And
100%.
an unpopular opinion, I know culturally this isn't the thing, but in my opinion, this is one reason to delay having sex. Because if you begin having sex, your relationship is going to revolve around that. Your dating relationship is really going to revolve around that. When can we have sex next? When can we find alone time? When can we da-da-da? Your relationship is going to revolve around that.
Right.
And create drama, and everything's going to then become about sex, and you're not going to just have as much fun. I'm not saying I'm not saying sex isn't fun. I'm not saying you can't also then have fun. I'm just saying that, and this is anecdotal, this is my experience, but when I watch my friends throughout high school and stuff, you could always tell when they started having sex because they stopped going out as much, they stopped being around people as much, they stopped doing fun things, because suddenly that became the focus of the relationship.
And things also got extremely emotional, and drama always happened.
And drama, 100%.
Always.
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's like Married at First Sight, the show. Okay, I'm going to bring this in. But it's been interesting to watch.
Snorted.
Oh my gosh. Married at First Sight has been interesting to watch because I have noticed that couples, over the couple of seasons that I've watched, couples who consummate their marriage on the first night, or even like the first couple of nights, tend to divorce at the end of the show because their relationship is now revolving around sex.
Around this physical thing.
Correct.
And the emotional connection is delayed, the mental.
Exactly. So I just watched season 1 where they didn't consummate their marriage till I think it was a month after the show was already done, and they had chosen to stay married. They chose to stay married after the experiment was done, but they hadn't had sex. And I think she waited another month. I had went on and read that she waited another month until...
It's hilarious that like, that's another good reason to not be on that show. Everyone knows when you consummate your marriage.
Okay, well, anyways.
I guess everyone knows when you consummate your marriage anyways in real life.
Everybody knows that you're going home to get some.
That's true.
But
you have a whole party to celebrate the fact you're about to go bang.
Exactly. They know you waking up the next day no longer a virgin.
Do you realize that's kind of what a wedding is? Is just a party to celebrate you going home to bang?
What a gift.
Anyways, yeah, that's
and
an
you
interesting...
get presents for it.
That's an interesting...
You just told me to shush.
Well, you were like screaming into the mic, and I'm afraid it's gonna...
They can turn it down.
Yeah, but then you get soft.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Sorry, I didn't mean to shush you.
I'm sorry. It's okay. I forgive you. I forgive you. I've gotten shushed a lot in my life. All I'm saying is that couple who waited 2.5 months on Married at First Sight, 6 years later have 2 kids.
It's so funny because 2.5 months is like not a long time to wait.
Okay, but they're married.
They are
and they're
married.
living together and
right. I hear you.
Yeah.
Do you know what's interesting is statistically, if you live with a person before you're married,
I know,
you are significantly more likely to get divorced.
I know. It's
very interesting.
It's like over 50%.
Yeah. I don't know what the number is.
I had literally just looked it up the other day.
Yeah.
It's a very high statistic.
It's really interesting.
I know, it's very interesting.
Listen, we kind of dove into some more controversial stuff here at the end. Maybe we didn't flesh out all of our ideas. If you have questions on some of the stuff we said or you think we're wrong, you can message us and maybe we'll touch on it again. But the idea,
or you can leave a comment on our YouTube channel.
The idea being, listen, you're in a dating relationship. When you're dating, it should be a fun getting to know the person in different environments sort of thing. You don't want to overcomplicate the dating side of it. Listen, if they become the person you choose, you have the rest of your life to complicate stuff.
Right.
You got plenty of time to make it complicated. While you're dating, you need to get to know who they are. You need to start understanding the things they value. In fact, I think people always ask, how do you know if somebody's the one? Well, like chemistry and being attracted to somebody, that's easy. You're going to have chemistry and be attracted to plenty of people over the course of your life.
Right.
But the way that you find out if somebody is the one is you really start discovering if you have shared values with this person.
Totally.
You start doing things in life and begin discovering that you guys value the same sorts of things. You may not be interested in the same music or the same. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying you value at the core the same sorts of things. And if all you're doing is going home and watching Netflix and like, you're not going to discover those things because you're not out in the world experiencing.
Right.
And so have fun. We watched plenty of shows while we dated,
but we
all
also
of that.
did.
But we also did a lot of stuff,
of adventures and so many things that were a lot of fun. And I also just want to add, whatever season you're in, if you're listening to this and maybe you're single or you are dating or you're married, I am in a place right now where I'm trying so hard to enjoy the right now. Enjoy the season that I'm in. I just think I look at people who are single and I am always the first to say, enjoy that season of your life, because one day you will find somebody and you'll choose them and you'll choose to be with them forever. And when that happens and you get married and you do it right, that should be for the rest of your life. You will never be single again. And whenever you can really wrap that around your brain, that, this is a season of your life and there's another level, and whatever that may look like, new levels approach, seasons end. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, let's enjoy the season that we're in right now and stop always, and I'm preaching to the choir here, obviously, but, not always looking ahead to the future, not always looking at the what's next or what's after this, or I want something different. It's like, how can we enjoy the right now? Because I guarantee you the right now will end. And in 5 years, you may look back and think, why didn't I enjoy that season? Mm-hmm. But if you do enjoy the right now, in 5 years, you'll look back and say, wow, that was an amazing season of my life. It is over. I have moved forward, but what a great chapter that was in my life. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, whatever season you are relationally right now, enjoy it, embrace it. It will end one day, however it ends, and you'll be on to the next. So enjoy the right now. Yeah,
I think that's great, and something you've really helped me be better at in our marriage is one of the things you've helped me with. Yeah, that's great. Well, that's episode 5.
Oh, episode 5.
It was a good one, I think. I hope.
The
I don't know. We might have made fools of ourselves.
Rules of dating. And Ariel and Grace.
Our 4 tips, just the tip.
No, I know. I said rules there on purpose. Oh my gosh, Grayson.
What?
You know what you just said.
What? It was just the tips.
Okay, just the tips. 4 rules of dating.
Yep.
With that.
If anybody makes it to the end.
If anyone makes it to the end, they're
Go
gonna be
ahead.
like, oh my goodness.
Do the closing. I've been thinking about making that joke the whole time.
I don't think...
It's been in the back of my brain the entire podcast.
Okay, so if you've made it to this part, please DM me on Instagram or text me if you have my phone number, or leave a comment on YouTube, because I really, really, really want to know who got that. All right, with that, thank you for losing. Thank you for losing.
Thank you for losing your mind.
Check.
As we do.
We're clearly losing our minds. Oh my gosh. All right. Clip. Or what is it? Like, take 1, take 2. Okay. Thank you for listening to the Losing Our Minds podcast, where we recommend, especially on this episode, that you take none of our advice because, well, we're losing our minds.
It was good advice, though.
Clearly. It was good tips. You think?
Yeah, just the tips were good.
Okay. All right. With that, I've been Ariel.
I'm Grayson.
Don't forget to subscribe and follow. See you next week.
See you on, next week, episode 6. Later.
Adios.
Hey, don't forget it's on video. It's on video. Go to YouTube if you're not on YouTube.
Yeah. All right. And
Losing Our Minds podcast. We're talking way too much at the end. See you
okay.
guys later.
Adios. Bye.